Most. Mwah. Hello, everybody, and welcome. And well, yes, Goober too. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Long Walkers Live and Daughter Buttons
Hello.
Thanksgiving Extravaganza. We'll call it.
For those of you that don't have family, or even those that you do and you're trying to avoid, here we are.
Yeah, we're here. We'll be live for a while, going over stuff. We've got a couple. I got a Kurt Cameron to go over about the meaning of Thanksgiving
The story of it, the real story.
The real story of it. Yes, it's very good. We heard it this morning.
Yeah, it's like a very powerful story, and you just can't deny that God had a plan and a purpose in that. You know,
I know.
And it's like that's pretty.
And it's like people want to go over the top about Thanksgiving. It's like, oh, what about the natives and what happened to them?
Well,
and
they're still here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they say that it started. Don't start it. They say that this started when, they started pillaging and taking land and all this shit. And it's like it didn't. It was at least 16 years later before it was even a thought of it.
Exactly. And we got the puppy says hi too.
But I had two ancestors that came over on the Mayflower. It was Savage and Cocoon, and then they got married. Yep. And one of their children, or both of their children, ended up marrying into the tribes up there and disappeared into the woods. Stayed in Cape Cod.
Well, because usually
over 100 years.
Usually, when you get involved with the tribes, you don't want to leave.
Right, exactly.
It's a better experience than most have.
And by the time that my grandmother was young, they were out there still living in the wild and eating squirrels and shit. So.
Some interesting stories. But just wanted to start off with me, myself, just our family. We're very thankful for all of you who watch. Very thankful. I'm very thankful for the health of everyone in my family.
Yeah.
I mean, Thanksgiving's a day about remembering, about,
honoring.
Focusing on your family, being with them.
Don't hit that thing. Don't hit that thing. Don't hit that thing.
This. Guys, and my wife, beautiful wife, and I have two beautiful kids. Two sons. Yeah. Sons, two beautiful sons. And just very thankful for that. I'm thankful that, we get
land, we have animals.
Yeah, we have land.
We have the opportunity to build ourselves up and become self-sufficient and
yes.
live every day as if it's Sunday.
Exactly. That is the goal. That's the biggest goal. Live every day as if it's Sunday. But for us, Sunday, we don't do anything. We're just here as a family, one day every week.
Try to keep it holy.
Keep it holy and just keep it together. That's why you won't see us online, on the internet, on social media. We don't deal with any of that on Sunday.
No.
So for all of you who didn't know that, that's it. I said, very thankful for the health and all of that with our family. I mean, we're in great shape. We have a great situation going on with all of us.
Yeah, it's been good. It's a good life.
Yes.
Family, they're awesome.
We have stuffing that I keep making.
Yep.
So we had turkey too.
We had turkey yesterday, and then we don't need to stand so much turkey. Chicken's better.
Yeah.
The babies try to drink his bowl like it's soup.
Hmm.
And I scooped by.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go over there making it.
We got a new puppy that we're breaking into the house.
Yeah.
So you'll hear him occasionally.
Very expensive little beastie.
And then you also might hear the one that's outside, because we got a horse out right now that wandered past and she goes nuts. So don't mind that. We'll try to mute it if it gets too bad, so that people don't.
Let's just get going so we can settle and they can listen to the story of Thanksgiving.
All right, let me get this set up on the Jumbotron.
I know it's close to 600.
What?
It was close to 600.
Yeah.
Well, let me get this going first. All right, looks good. Let's get started. Here's the real story. We'll let him.
It's a good story, man.
Unsaved. Why did you take it off? Okay. Gonna mute this and listen.
Tell you all about the true story of Thanksgiving that you may have never heard in your whole life. Did you know America didn't actually start with the Pilgrims coming over, taking other people's land and pillaging, stealing, and destroying somebody else's culture? No, America was actually born in faith, in cold winds, in the winter, starvation, tears, and lots of prayer. The first and true Thanksgiving was not anything like what you and I have today with stuffing and cranberry sauce and turkey. It was the cry of a people who nearly died and were saved by the mercy of Almighty God. And today, we're going to rediscover the true story, not the sanitized children's version, not the crazy leftist version, but the bold, costly, providential foundation of our freedom and why we must never forget the God who gave it to us. Hey, please make sure that you subscribe to The Kirk Cameron Show and turn on notifications so we can keep telling the truth about faith, family, and freedom. Hey, our sponsor today is Reformed Roasters. If you haven't checked this out, their coffee is absolutely delicious. And I'm going to get into this blend. It's called Unconditional Election later in the show. Just go to reformedroasters.com and put in the promo code Kirk for 10% off your order. Reformedroasters.com with a promo code Kirk for 10% off.
The first recorded Thanksgiving took place around 1620, 1621. And during this time, the Pilgrims were trying to basically wipe out all the Indians in all the surrounding areas.
In 1637, Puritans in Massachusetts celebrated a day of thanks, not for peace, but for genocide.
For many Indigenous folks, Thanksgiving reminds us of our people being killed and our land being stolen. So why should I partake in a day that basically celebrates colonization and genocide?
The true story behind Thanksgiving was, after every killing of a whole village, these European settlers celebrated it, and they called it Thanksgiving.
No, you're wrong. That's not the story of what happened at the beginnings of our country. America was born in a very different way. But when you rewrite history conveniently like that to fit your agenda, getting people to hate Christians and to hate America, it fits really well. Unfortunately, history tells us a different story. Think of a quiet English village. It's called Scrooby. Scrooby was just a little teeny town, not a palace, not a cathedral, not a castle, but a basement, an underground hiding place beneath the horse stalls of a barn. Ordinary believers, moms, dads, and their kids gathered in secret by candlelight to worship God and read the Bible. The Bible had just been printed through the printing press, and they had them, and they weren't forced to go to the king's churches. They could read the Bible in their own language, and they became known as the separatists. They had separated themselves from the Church of England, later became known as the Pilgrims. And the truth is, these moms and dads and children were not revolutionaries. They just wanted peace. They wanted to know God. They wanted to love their country, raise their kids, live quietly, and honor the scriptures. Sound familiar? But their faith collided with a tyrant on steroids, King James I. So King James, he made a great Bible. He made a horrible king. To him, the Bible was not something for everyone to obey according to their conscience. It was the tool of the tyrant. It was the weapon that he would use to co-opt power. And King James claimed absolute control over every person in his kingdom. And if you disagreed with him, you were tortured, you were mutilated, you were imprisoned, or even executed. This was normal in the ancient and medieval worlds. Ministers had their ears cut off. They had their tongues pierced with iron. They even had their faces branded. And this was a message to everybody else. Bow to the king, not to the God of the Bible. In the king's mind, he is God. And when King James heard of the separatists in Scrooby, he went after them and he vowed, I will harry them out of the land, he said, or do worse. Everyone knew what that meant. Then in 1607, they sold everything and they arranged a secret trip to Holland where they heard they could have some religious freedom to worship God and raise their family. And so they boarded a Dutch ship in the middle of the night. And at the last moment, the captain of the ship betrayed them. He took their money and then he handed them over to the king's soldiers. It was all a trap. The women were searched, as it says, quote, to their innermost garments. They were humiliated in public. Men were stripped, examined. They're shivering in the cold wind. I mean, just imagine this. Imagine you and your family, wives, daughters, mothers, exposed, degraded, treated like criminals for what? The crime of worshiping Jesus, of praying outside of the licensed church of the king. And then you get paraded through the town, people mocking you, jeering at you, throwing stuff at you, total humiliation. The men were dragged to prison. And these weren't the kind of prisons we see today with TVs, Netflix, gyms, and good food. We're talking disease. We're talking rats. We're talking rotting food, freezing cold winds, exposed to the outside weather and elements, no sanitation, filth on the floor. And when you had a 9-month prison sentence in this prison, it was usually a death sentence. Few of the men survived. And those who walked out, they did so coughing blood, half-starved, bones showing through their skin. And the women and the children were abandoned, all alone, hungry, terrified. When the men finally got out of prison, reunited with their wives a year later, they didn't quit. They planned a second escape. In the night, the men boarded first to prepare. The women and the children, they waited on shore for the signal to board the ship. And then the Dutch captain aims the guns at the men and forces them to set sail with them, leaving their wives and their children behind. Again, the king's soldiers seized the women. They pleaded for mercy, and they were rewarded with prison themselves. Eventually, after months, the women were released. They were finally able to get on a ship and reunite with their husbands in Holland. But they were being chased by the king and the soldiers. I mean, think of the price that they had to pay just to be able to do what you and I are doing every day, anytime we want in America.
Embarrassing when they say shit like that.
I know, and it's like, okay, you know, the women here in America think that they have it so bad and think, well, we have to force our way in, we have to do this. I mean, look at what these people went through.
I know. And the resilience, and they made it through.
Yes.
And they still had children. And those children still had children, even though they saw their mothers and their fathers going through pure freaking hell. They didn't say, oh, this isn't a good time to have children. They still did it, and they, like, thrived.
And they, you know, they stayed by their kids. I mean, the women, they got tortured and still stayed by their kids.
Yes.
And their men.
And it's like, now, oh, no, it's never been a worse time to have children. And it's like, I'm so sick and tired of hearing
I know.
They're the weakest of people.
Not now, when?
What?
Not now, when? No?
Exactly.
Yeah. We've all lived in one of the better times to have
I
kids.
think there hasn't ever been a better time. I mean, look at all the freedoms and shit that we have. Look at the healthcare that's available.
Yes.
Yeah, but they're just taking people's damage.
You know, and I'm as a father, I'm really thrilled with the two that we have. They're amazing.
And it's like, and these people were so grateful. They were so thankful.
Yes.
They get, as we will find out more in the story, shit on and shit on and shit on and going through these horrible, horrible, horrible things. And they were still able to drag up their gratitude.
Yes.
And say, thank you for bringing me here, you know, and guiding us, you know, Lord. It's like, that's So
But
amazing.
we live under a king right now.
Oh yeah, exactly. They lived under a real king that actually defaced them and put them in prison for shit.
I know,
And
but no, we live through a king right now.
I might share this one in my page and be like, for all of those who think that Trump is a king, you might want to fucking listen to this.
Yeah, no kidding. People need a wake up call, and these people that woke agenda, it needs to be slain and put down.
Put to fucking rest, because this
We need to be
crazy.
done with it.
I mean, look at our ancestors, everything that they went through on both sides of stuff, and
Yeah.
still were willing to keep going, do more, and didn't discourage people from having children. Didn't
No.
discourage them from having marriage and family. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Simply worship God. In Holland, this was their oasis. They found some spiritual freedom. You were kind of free to do whatever you wanted over there. And they had a pastor. His name was John Robinson. Reminds me a lot of my pastor, Rex Holt. He was just an amazing guy, brilliant, loved the Lord, always open to the Lord's leading of the Holy Spirit. And the Pilgrims learned the principles of the ancient Hebrew Republic, the principles of civil liberty, economic freedom, and religious liberty, rooted in the Bible and in 700 years of English common law that King James was completely ignoring. But their freedom in Holland didn't feed them. It didn't put clothes on their back or food in their stomachs. The Dutch unions denied them of good jobs because they were Englishmen and women. And the kids were forced to work in these sweatshops. The culture was tolerant of new faiths, but that also brings in all sort of pagan idolatry, and it threatened to swallow their biblical Christian faith. And then on top of it, there's news that the Spanish army is planning an invasion, and that was possibly going to get them all killed. So they chose the unthinkable. These brave, out-of-the-box thinkers, these pioneers of Christian civilization, chose to get on a couple of ships and venture across the Atlantic Ocean. Not for fun. This wasn't a pleasure cruiser. This was their last chance for their children's souls. They boarded two ships. One of the ships was called the Speedwell. The other was the Mayflower. But the Speedwell, turns out, wasn't speedy and it wasn't well. It leaked. And so they took it back to port, and only half of this fellowship of believers could fit on the Mayflower. So the pastor and 66 of them stayed behind. What was supposed to be a couple of week voyage turned into a 66-day nightmare of storms. The ship was being battered by the winds, and the beam that held up the mast of the mainsail cracked, and the captain told them to prepare to meet their maker, but they had a screw that was going to be used for a printing press that they jammed up in there to save the mast. Just imagine the fear underneath while the winds are beating down in the rain, the stench of sickness and animal and human waste, wave after wave, pounding the wood, pounding their hope. And they were pointed for New York. This is where they had their charter, the permission to go. But storms pushed them up to Cape Cod, 400 miles north of their intended destination, and it was outside the royal jurisdiction. So they didn't know exactly what they were going to find up there. All they had heard were the stories of the natives who were there and what they did to people who came and were unwanted. So they realized they had to fend for themselves. There was no army to protect them. There were no rules. There was no government. And they had to create their own form of government based on what they had been taught by their pastor and the scriptures. They created the Mayflower Compact. They knew that if they were ever going to survive, they had to have a set of rules. They had to think of what are we going to do with property? What are we going to do about who's in charge? What are we going to do about laws? What are the punishment for breaking the laws so that we can work together and we don't kill each other? This Mayflower Compact was signed on November 11th, 1620, and it started with the phrase, "In the name of God, amen." They didn't have a king, no monarch, no aristocrats, no elite class, just simple families under God. And that covenant, that sacred promise relationship, birthed colonial charters, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. What those simple pilgrims created was used as a pattern for all the others who came later, and even our Constitution that we have today. So think about this. Freedom didn't start with a king. It didn't start at the White House. It started with desperate prayer on a broken ship. And when they stepped foot onto the land of Cape Cod, there in Plymouth, they found that there was an area of land that was already cleared, almost as though it had been prepared for them. It was an abandoned Native American Pawtuxet village. And it was wintertime. Half the colonists died by March. They even have recorded that mothers were found dead in the snow, lying on top of their frozen children. They buried their dead in unmarked graves so that they didn't have a bunch of individual graves indicating their weakness and that so many of them had died and could be then attacked by the surrounding tribes. When the springtime finally came, they were forced into socialist practices, communist communal farming by their financial backers, who were these merchants that wanted all that they produced. And what it actually produced was not great produce, it produced starvation, just like socialism and communism always does. And this lasted for almost 2 years. America was dying in the snow. And then, against all odds, when all hope seems lost, a man steps out from the forest. He speaks perfect English. Squanto. You've heard the story. Turns out he was the last surviving Pawtuxet. Remember earlier, there was a plague that ripped through that village and killed all of them. But Squanto had been kidnapped prior to the plague by English explorers, and he was taken to Spain. But then he escaped. He got educated in England, learned the language perfectly, and returned home hoping to meet with his family. And he found every single member of his tribe had died. Every parent, every sibling.
I mean, what are the odds that this one tribe member would survive? I mean, yes, the situation was different because he got taken away.
It was literally like all part of like God's plan.
Yeah, it was part of a bigger plan.
So that he didn't like die of the plague that was
Yes.
there. And like, what are the odds that they weren't even supposed to be there and they get blew down past beyond New York.
Yeah. Yep.
And they encounter him, who also happens to be there. They have the whole village that's just like ready for them to inhabit.
Yeah. And what the next biggest thing that I was like, holy crap on, was what are the odds that he can speak perfect English?
I know. Like, it's just crazy. Everything happens for a reason. That is like
that,
the classic example of that.
The plan was put in motion and it went. I mean, everything was perfect that way.
Yeah. Like, if they had gone to New York, who would have thought that if they would have survived through that, you know?
Exactly.
Because there was already...
Sorry, guys.
There was already, like, tribes and stuff getting into conflict and everything there. So
yes, exactly.
But, I mean, just amazing. Like, it's just, like, astronomically high odds of this. I mean, everything happens for a reason.
It does. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Ladies and gentlemen, things happen that nobody else can explain.
I mean, sometimes that might take years and years and years. I mean, this was like decades, guys.
Yes, it
This
is.
was like decades in the making, because when they took Squanto, I forgot how long he was away. I'll look it up in a little bit.
A while,
But he,
couple of years.
He lived with monks when he escaped from the. Stop! You guys are
Yeah,
on off this
he did.
now. And he lived with monks, and they're the ones that taught him how to read and to write and to speak English and everything, and then they helped him find a way back home.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the
That
odds,
blows my mind.
everything that goes into motion.
Yeah, that's so crazy. So if you're having like a bad day today and you can't see why this is happening to you, you don't know. Maybe 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, everything's going to come together and it's going to make sense. And, like,
Exactly.
That's why this had to happen. That's why this was taken
Yes.
from me. So I was put on this path, you know.
And the ones that lose the most are always the more spiritually enlightened ones.
Right, it's a test, and there's
Look
something
at
better.
from the Bible. Who was it? It
Job.
was Job.
Yes.
He lost everything, just so that God could say, "Okay, let's give him it back in tenfold."
You guys, I will lock
Cats
you
are
up
going
in
nuts.
cage.
But yes, I mean, it's that's why it's like when they try to bring up about Thanksgiving and oh, you need to pay respect to the tribal people
We do
because
that every day.
they went through. Well, of course, we do it every day, and it's like, as you will see, they haven't really. I mean, there was a 50-year peace treaty
Right.
that was put in place before anything happened.
I don't know if they made it the full 50 years. Though.
No, but there was at least we when we searched what 16
It was
years.
16 years before, between that Thanksgiving and when things started to go downhill. So
Yeah.
it was like kind of like I said with I always forget the other boy's name, but Isaac, the Jewish leader,
Yes.
going and being invited to an Egyptian city by his other brother who ruled that city, and they were welcome guests and they were well taken care of. Well, then 2 generations down the line, after that guy is dead and gone, and the next guy is dead and gone, suddenly this new pharaoh comes in. He's like, "I own you.
Yeah.
You can't leave. You'll build my shit." So it's like you can't be responsible for what the subsequent generations do.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
And like a lot of those tribes that were pretty warlike. And
Oh, they were,
really
yeah.
super aggressive. And I don't understand that, because you seem like you find less aggressive ones out in the desert, where they should be more so because resources are scarce. But like where there's more moderate resources, you see a lot of warlike tendencies.
Yeah, you do. You really do.
Because Plains natives weren't as warlike either. There was
Yeah.
a couple of tribes like the Pawnee and Apache, but that was pretty much it.
Yes.
Everybody else just kind of got along and stuff. But like here, there was quite a few. Like I said,
Yeah.
I can't think of many of the names, but I know there was at least the Mohawks reputed to be pretty vicious.
Okay.
They would cut off the hands of babies
Well-
from neighboring tribes to say, "Look at me, look how powerful I am."
And we were talking about it before too, and it's like, well, what about all the bad tribes that would go and scout people?
Yeah, but they learned that from the French.
Okay.
So that doesn't necessarily mean that that was a native tradition. They learned
No.
that. They learned that from Europeans.
But I mean, they sure went wild with it.
Yeah. And like I said, cutting off the hands of babies and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
neighboring
That's big,
tribes,
too.
And body parts were like a thing that was collected. And,
Yeah.
Like on the other side of the pond, we had people cutting off foreskins from different places and counting their worth through that. So it's like there's always been some really rough warlike things happening amongst people.
Exactly. Yes, Guru. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Yes.
Yep. Very good. All right. Let's get this. What?
Nice.
Let's get this one finished, and then we'll move on.
Every child. Now, think about this. He could have hated the Pilgrims, thinking that these were Englishmen, Europeans, just like the ones who had captured him. But instead, he helped them. Listen to this. Governor of the Pilgrims, named William Bradford, said this: Squanto was a special instrument of God for their good beyond expectation. So God in his providence sends somebody to the New World who actually understands the Native American culture and speaks perfect English to serve as a translator for them as they begin to face the violent Native American tribes that could have attacked them. And Squanto taught them how to farm, how to fish, how to hunt, how to survive this new world. He becomes their interpreter and their mediator. Some people think that the Pilgrims came over and all of a sudden they were stealing land and getting into these fights and murdering people. Not true. Through Squanto, the Pilgrims met Massasoit, the great chief of the neighboring Wampanoag tribe. And they made a 50-year peace treaty between them of mutual protection and justice. I mean, this is totally unlike other colonies. Plymouth had 50 years of peace. They had peace, but peace was not enough. They still starved. Why? Because they were forced into socialist, communist practices where everyone works and then everyone receives equal rations. Sound familiar? New York City, with their new mayor, sounds like it's going that way. The hardworking, industrious people carried the lazy, slothful people. And what happened? Resentment infects them with bitter hearts and poisons the morale. So what does the governor do? Governor William Bradford abandons the socialist utopian model, and he assigns each family their own private land. And guess what happened? Productivity exploded. He later wrote that socialism specifically bred confusion and discontent, as if they were wiser than God. Free markets, personal responsibility, working with your hands to enjoy the fruit of your labor, that is a biblical idea. That's God's way. It's anti-socialism. Same people, same land, different system, personal responsibility and freedom, and everything gets better. God bless them. But that's not the end of the story. Just when things were looking better, then there.
All right, so we got information for you all.
So this whole thing took about 7 years, which is also like a biblically significant.
Yes,
for
it
7
is.
years, right? So when he was taken away, he was in Europe for about 5 years.
Okay.
Then when he came back, it was about 2 years after that he met the Pilgrims. They officially
Okay.
met the Pilgrims.
So yeah,
7 years.
that's crazy.
Yeah. And like I'm trying to figure out why the hell and how the hell they managed to get anywhere in November. Like they
No
arrived
kidding.
in November.
Wow.
In New England. Like it's amazing that any of them survived.
I know. Yeah, I mean, well, you said, did they find that village right away when they arrived, or?
Yeah, I think so.
So they had an empty village right away.
Yeah.
And of course, they didn't know right away that it was empty, I'm sure.
Right.
It took them a little bit of
scouted
time.
A little bit, right?
Yeah.
They probably stayed on their ship for a while, to be honest. Yeah, so
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. And it was the Pawtuxet. That was the tribe.
Yeah.
Was the Pawtuxet. So like the Pawtuxet Brewery.
Yeah, I know.
Like
That's
from,
what.
Massachusetts. Yeah. So it is in Massachusetts. I couldn't remember if it was Massachusetts or if it was on Rhode Island. Wait, no. It is Rhode Island.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Yeah, Rhode Island. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like it's so freaking. They're so close together.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's cool.
It is. It's very cool. I mean, all that you get to learn, it's really amazing. That's why I don't just believe one source. I mean, with the internet nowadays, I've said this once and I'll say it like 20 times again. Do your own research. Know what you're talking about. Don't allow people to just be like, oh, this is how it is. No. Research.
Most of the Native Americans that I knew growing up, they didn't even think anything about this holiday, to be honest. Like, especially the ones in the Southwest, it was just like any other holiday. They got their damn reservation money. They got their little food baskets and stuff, and they cooked food the same as anything else. They didn't really seem to tell stories.
No.
Or anything. Like I said, maybe that's just because they were like from the Southwest, they were from that region, but it's like they try to make it all like it's like some big deal, but like half of them don't like literally don't even like care or observe.
No.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but they just don't.
I know.
You know?
That's exactly right.
And then it's like these bleeding heart liberals, these white people that virtue signal and everything. It's them that has caused a lot of this discord.
Oh God, yeah, it is.
And it's like you hear it during Halloween too. It's like people want to dress up like Native Americans or a different culture, and they're like, "Oh hell no, my culture's not your costume." And it's like you think that you would be like pleased to see that.
You would think so, yeah.
Like there's a lot. I mean, I don't get offended when I see people wearing Egyptian stuff for the freaking like holiday.
No.
You know, and I don't get offended when I see people wearing Native American stuff for the holiday.
No.
I get a little bit offended when I see people dressed like nuns. But you know, but still, like it is what it is. You know,
Exactly.
Like, I get it because there's been scary movies about nuns and priests and shit.
Oh God, yeah. It's about everything.
And there has been bad nuns and priests and monks too. You know, so it's
Yep.
like, so they are still kind of representing something. But I don't know, white people.
It's a white people problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this one up.
Here comes a devastating drought. Their crops shriveled. They were going to starve when winter hit. There was no reserve, nothing left in the pantry, no future for their kids. And they didn't riot. Imagine that. They didn't start burning stuff down. Imagine that. They didn't beg the government to give them handouts. No, they fasted. They prayed. They humbled themselves, repented of their sins, turned their hearts back to God. And they remembered that they had not thanked him. And on that very day that they fasted and they prayed, listen to what Governor Bradford recorded in his journal. He said, "For all the morning and the greatest part of the day, it was clear weather and very hot and no cloud or any sign of rain to be seen. Yet toward the evening, it began to be overcast and shortly after to rain with such sweet and gentle showers as gave them cause for rejoicing and blessing God. And it came without wind or thunder or any violence, and in degrees in that abundance, as that the earth was thoroughly wet and soaked therewith, which did so apparently revive and quicken the decayed corn and other fruits, as was wonderful to see, and even made the Indians astonished to behold. For which mercy, in time convenient, they also set apart a day of thanksgiving." That's where we get our first Thanksgiving. That was the first and true story of Thanksgiving. Their lives were spared, so they declared a day of giving thanks to God. Not feasting first, giving thanks first. That is the true story of our American holiday. Hey, I want to take a minute and just give you a great gift idea. My wife and I are already looking for great, unique gifts. And you and I, this Thanksgiving Eve, are facing our own storms and our own drought. Not of wind and rain, but a drought of gratitude, of faith, of truth, and courage. So many Americans have forgotten what Thanksgiving is all about, that it was God, not the government, who made this nation free and prosperous. The Pilgrims remind us, freedom costs everything. Faith is risky, but gratitude is the only attitude and posture we should have before God. The Pilgrim story is not a myth. It's a mirror. Will you and I choose comfort and the promises of socialism, or will we choose faith and courage? Will we choose the promise of safety, or will we rely on truth? Will we depend on government, or on Christ. So this Thanksgiving, be intentional. When you gather, with whom you gather, tell them the story. Tell them the stories about King James and his tyranny. Tell them about the sea captain who betrayed them. Tell them about the prison cells that killed the fathers and about the mothers who gave their lives so that their children might live. Tell them about Squanto, the one God sent, the one who forgave and who served. Tell them about Massasoit and the peace treaty. Tell them about Governor William Bradford, who trusted scripture over theory and stood up to power. Tell them about the drought and then the gentle rain of mercy. And tell your children that the same God who carried the pilgrims still carries us. Listen to what scripture says. I've memorized this verse. Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him. Give thanks for all that he has done. And then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can possibly understand. His peace will guard your heart and your mind as you live in Christ Jesus. That's our Thanksgiving instructions. Give thanks in everything. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And may God bless you, your family, and may God bless our nation.
So, I mean, that tells you guys everything right there. It's like people just want to believe that the suffering, they want to believe the wrong side of it all.
No, like I said, it's like a white savior complex.
It is,
Really, you know?
yes.
It's like I know there's been a lot of Native American creators that have kind of jumped on board with that, and I think it's really stupid. It's really redundant.
Yes, it
they're
is.
They're just as much as influencers as the other ones, but it's mostly the white savior complex. And like I was saying, they're actually related mostly to those people that came over on the
I know.
Mayflower. Those were their real ancestors.
Yes.
So it's like I guess their suffering means nothing.
No.
And the only people that matter are the brown people that were screwed over in this deal. You know, it's like everybody freaking suffered in that time.
I know.
You know, and they made
It was big.
through. And they made it through, and they made us. You know, they made us be
Yes.
here. And it's like they don't see that though.
I know.
And it makes that's just it's so sad.
It is. It really is sad. I mean, the people that came over on these boats, I mean, they sacrificed everything to try to help their families. I mean,
come over in November, like
yes.
to land here in November on the East Coast.
I know.
I mean, the fact that they even made it here across the Atlantic is freaking miracle.
Yeah.
My grandmother has she's been to Plymouth Rock, and she went to see the Mayflower. I don't know if it's still around.
I don't know.
They had it, and it's this little rickety ass clipper ship. You know, it's been like updated and shit now.
Of course.
It used to do tours, but I think
Interesting.
I think it's just. I'll look it up again in a minute. But I think it's just sitting harbored. But it's like she said, just like. Just seeing it, she was like her claustrophobia was like up and everything because it's like
yes.
Not only did you have the 66 people, I don't know if that counted the crew or not, but you had all the animals.
I don't know. That would be an interesting one to find out.
But I know they did have the animals.
Yeah, they did.
I just don't know if the
the crew.
counted the crew or not. Probably.
Probably, I would think so because, like you said, it's not that big of a boat.
Yeah. But then you got all that. You know, they're like living together with those animals. And that's another testimony to like how we have lived with animals to rely on each other. They had to get them from there to here and take care of them through those winters and shit.
Yeah, because they needed them just as much as the animals would need them
so
to
there
survive.
Was cohabitation again. And
yes.
Like that's something that people have taken way away from people. It's like,
I know.
Now we have pets. You know, we have lap dogs and we have cats that are spoiled beyond reason. And it's like, you guys don't know what it's like to live and need each other and like you like have a symbiotic relationship and they're missing out on that.
Well, yeah, and it's like we were just talking about the dogs this morning. You know, and it's like that's the reason that those dogs lost their way.
Right. It's the people.
Yeah, it's because
absolutely it is.
Because people I'm just saying too, because of people not giving them purpose.
Right. Right. They're just like,
Instead of like the pit bulls keeping them blood sport dogs,
right.
only doing that job.
Right.
No, let's bring them to be family pets.
Right.
What's going to happen?
Right,
People are going to get bit.
It's like nobody really uses dogs for hunting at all anymore. I don't think. You know, if they have, they moved on to hounds, and it's like.
Well, because the problem is, I think most people are afraid that they're going to shoot the dog on accident.
Probably, and it is really ruthless to watch them use them, but it's like, you know, like, I mean, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
so they don't really have a purpose in today's society. It's like, you know, I hate to say it, but it's like eradicate the breed and start again with something that
I know.
is more of like a family dog or something. But I think it's the terrier mix that makes them like that.
I think
because
so.
they're the
Yes.
ones that
Yes.
have that weird stance and shit. So it's like it's maybe I don't know. So it's like it's a whole other live stream.
I know that one is.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, they took away. I mean, people don't ride horses anymore, and if they do, they just compete with them.
I know.
Like they don't use them for transportation. They don't use them for anything else. You know, and the dogs the same way, and the cats are the same way.
I know.
It's like there's no purpose.
I know, and that's a sad thing to see.
And then we do it. We live with purpose in a symbiotic relationship. I need you. You need me. Your security. You know.
Yeah.
You're my transportation and all this shit. And then they said it's abusive.
I know.
And it's like it's the way it's supposed to be.
Yes.
You know. And this whole shit. Well, if you can't afford an animal, then you shouldn't have it. Well, what the hell if you fell on hard times after you got the animal? I mean, we go through hard times together.
Yeah.
They don't fault you for it.
No, and
You
it's
know?
like that's one of the biggest things I think too is we talk about homeless people, and you know they're like, oh my god, they're homeless. They should not have that animal.
I don't like that. Yeah, I
But
think
no,
they should
I
have
think
that animal.
because they need at least they'll have somebody that cares about them.
Right. There's at least the companionship factor.
Yes.
You know? And like God forbid if a dog gets a little bit skinny from time to time.
I know.
You know, that is nature. That's what
And then
happens.
people, no, they're not feeding it. They're not.
We have working dogs, and so at the end of every season they're very lean. And
Yep.
then they put on stuff over the winter because we're not doing stuff. And
I know.
then they'll lean out again, and it's like there's nothing wrong with it. That is natural. That's a natural way
That is.
of
Yes.
living. And it should be that way for people too. It's like you don't have to maintain this constant way. It's not good to do so.
Yeah.
You know? And
I mean, the way that people get, it's like, oh my god.
I know that makes me really agitates me because it's like you guys will never know what it's like to rely on an animal for survival.
No,
And it's like been there, done that for a long time. You know.
I know.
It's like I rely on these dogs, but you guys are gone. That's like my topmost security.
Yeah.
They're my alerters. They're my protection. you
But it's
know?
like, heaven forbid they bark a little bit.
right.
The neighbors, oh my god, what are they doing? We can't have.
Right, and it's like, so you look up the laws, and it's like, there's not a damn thing you can be doing about that. They're not
Nope.
barking like 12 hours a day, you know.
No, they're only
work,
barking when
and
something's
they show
around.
up. Like Mara, she's just a baby. She don't
Yeah. Well, and it's like also that's different because we have the horses coming in the front yard.
Right, they're alerted.
That's what she sees. She's
Right.
alerting.
Exactly, and she'll learn. So
Yeah.
she's like, okay, I see it, it's fun. Like, just like Loki learned, you know.
Yes.
And we use them for shepherding, and now we only have one horse, so we don't need them for shepherding so
No.
much. But there's there if that comes to fruition. You know, if I need them for that, they'll do it.
Exactly.
I'll keep them away from my crops so that we can have crops, you know.
Yes.
And the cats, they keep the rodents down,
They do.
you know. And
Even when we don't want them to.
yeah, bring them in here. Hello.
Hey guys,
There you go. Then leave.
take it.
But,
Honey.
but it's like the cats in particular, they're never underweight. You know,
No.
they're always like spot on and everything.
Well, because they'll find food no matter
Yeah,
what.
and they're so easy to take care of. It's just like
Yeah.
chicken. That's it. That's all you need. Chicken. That's it.
Yes.
Like literally, that's all they need, and they eat bones and all, and there you go. That's the calcium. And
I know.
everything.
It is.
But you got people trying to turn them vegan and shit, and it's like you kill them that way.
Dude, no, that is animal cruelty. I don't care what people want to say about it. Turning an animal vegan is animal cruelty to the highest.
Particularly a cat.
Yes.
Because dogs can survive. It's maybe not the best
Well,
quality of life.
people can too.
Right, it's not the best quality of
No.
life, though.
You know, but people that are vegan end up being more
Like anemic and shit.
anemic and stuck on a couch and
I mean, there's some people that try to disprove this because they're really active and everything, but you find out that they have to take a shit ton of supplements.
Yeah, no.
And it's like we're programmed to go for the densest nutrients possible.
And that's, you know, capsule
Yeah.
things that are. It's
What
like
if that's not available to
I
people
know.
like us? And they were trying to say, in this day and age, there's no reason that you can't be vegan. And it's like, try living out here.
yes,
Try having access to the stuff that we have out here and doing the work that we do, and you tell me the same thing. I
exactly.
know it doesn't fucking work because I have pictures of when we went pretty much vegan for a year.
I know.
You know, and I went down to like 93 pounds.
I know. You and I did not eat that much meat at all.
Yeah.
Tristan was here and
didn't
he
suffer for it,
and
neither
he
did the
ate.
dogs.
Yeah, he ate enough meat, and so did the dogs. But we cut ours back, and we said, whatever we have to do to make it.
Yeah, I learned how to make like a pound of meat last like 5 days.
Yeah.
Just using the broth from it and everything else, and it's like that was a hell of a year, but we still had good times.
I
You
know.
It was a good year. It was the hardest and happiest year that we've had.
That's what really brought us to be a really close family.
That's what started us with that monastic path. Because
Yes.
we're like, wait, do you realize the stuff that we think that we need that we don't? You know, I used to buy lotion. I used to buy moisturizers.
Because I have to have it.
And then I found it's like, shit, well, what am I going to do if I can't? Then I'm like, well, coconut oil. You know?
Yeah.
And now avocado oil. I've experimented with different oils.
And you found some really good ones.
Yeah, like my favorite is safflower, coconut, and avocado mixed. It's really, really good. It makes your skin really supple and shit. And like with our hair and everything, so you realize you don't have to buy shampoo. And as a matter of fact, you shouldn't be shampooing your hair as much as you do anyway.
No. I mean, mine maybe once a week.
Yeah, and that's excessive.
And
Yeah. Otherwise, it's doing the oats and everything, and we need to wash like once a month, like with actual soap.
exactly.
But it's a lot of brushing. It's a lot more care that has to go into it.
But it's worth it.
Pinning it up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, mine's either back in the ponytail or you'll find it up, and it's only down for the lives.
Yeah. Pictures, that's about it. But like you find out that you don't need a lot of the stuff they tell
No,
you that you
you
need.
don't.
You don't buy boxed foods. You don't buy prepackaged stuff. You don't buy frozen things.
No.
It's like there's no point.
Making your own food is just as good.
It's a life hack. I mean, it's better.
We both can cook just fine.
Yeah, that's better for you too.
You know, unlike most people who are like, well, I don't know how to cook it. I'm like, how the hell do you not know how to cook?
You learn. I mean, you learn pretty
Yes.
goddamn fast.
You know, and it's sad if some people don't know how to cook.
Yeah, like that's dumb.
They're starting to rely on other people more and more. Then it's like, oh well, I don't know how to cook, so I'm gonna have to go eat out.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Well, let's see what happens.
They don't want to take the responsibility to learn how to cook.
And then it's like,
So that's what they use. Oh well, I'm out of money because I have to go eat out. I have to. And it's like,
I can't afford kids in this economy. I can't even afford to feed myself. On like $900 a month, I feed 21 mouths.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And
I
still
know.
have stuff left over.
Yes.
So you're doing something wrong.
Very wrong. Yes.
And it's like, we're not talking about little dogs here. We're talking about shepherd wolf.
Yeah.
And we're talking about farm cats.
Yep.
So, no, you guys are doing something wrong. If I can feed 21 mouths here, including ourselves, and a teenager, and a growing, 1-year-old.
Yes.
And you who works out in the elements and stuff, and the rest of those animals for like $900 a month.
Exactly.
You were doing something wrong. If
Something-
you, as one person, can't even feed
Yes.
yourself. I judge you.
More to come with leopard judges.
Yes, I judge you. But yeah, that's a great story.
It is. I like that one. Then you have a Matt Walsh for us that we'll watch. It's only like 10 minutes.
Okay, I don't know where are we at now.
54 minutes.
Okay.
So we'll finish Matt Walsh's.
Yeah, then have some more time to talk if
Yeah.
you want to. And why is that cat staring at you like that?
I don't know.
It's staring at the side of his head.
They was trying to get up on my
Can you
lap.
not do that?
Just unlock my another post for my.
The Pilgrims overtook the Native Americans and took everything that they had worked so hard for.
Well, you know, Thanksgiving is a wonderful time. It's my favorite holiday. It's a time for celebration, gratitude, time to gather around the table with your family, enjoy a wonderful meal, reflect on all the things that you're thankful for, unless you are a deranged leftist, in which case you will insist that Thanksgiving is not so simple. There are nuances, as you like to say. Thanksgiving is deeply problematic. And that's why every year around this time of year, you'll start seeing articles like this one, which was just published in The Nation. Headline, "Should America Keep Celebrating Thanksgiving?" Now, the article presents two competing perspectives. Both sides of the discussion are put forward, and you have to give The Nation credit, at least, for giving both sides of the debate. As dumb as you might think the debate is, at least they gave both sides. And, you know, that's honestly more than I would expect from this publication. So here's the first argument presented by a guy named Sean Sherman. Quote, "The sanitized version of Thanksgiving neglects to mention the violence, land theft, and subsequent decimation of indigenous populations. Needless to say, this causes tremendous distress to those of us who are still reeling from the trauma of these events to our communities. Thanksgiving's roots are intertwined with colonial aggression. One of the first documented Thanksgivings came in 1637 after the colonists celebrated their massacre of an entire Pequot village. I do not think we need to end Thanksgiving, but we do need to decolonize it. That means centering the indigenous perspective and challenging the colonial narratives around the holiday and every other day on the calendar. By reclaiming authentic histories and practices, decolonization seeks to honor indigenous values, identities, and knowledge. This approach is one of constructive evolution. In decolonizing Thanksgiving, we acknowledge this painful past while reimagining our lives in a more truthful manner." Now, by the way, in case this wasn't clear, that was the pro-Thanksgiving side of the debate. So they have two sides of the debate. That's what the side sounds like. The Thanksgiving defender is a guy who thinks that the European settlers were evil, genocidal colonizers. So if that's what he thinks, here's what the opponent of the holiday has to say. You want to give thanks? Give thanks to native nations who granted settlers some form of legitimacy by entering into treaties recognizing them to be in our homelands. Those treaties recognize that Americans are now under our spiritual custody and have rights to pass through our country. As soon as Americans were able to impose their will on indigenous nations, the treaties were violated. Some indigenous nations do not have treaties, and legally this means their nation should be intact. Those of us who have treaties have defensible legal claims to lands that are now occupied by private American settlers under U.S. law. November is already Native American Heritage Month. Thanksgiving could be something better, a day to appreciate the truth of a Native American history and Native Americans' contributions to our lives. Let's tell a different story by dropping the lie of Thanksgiving and begin a truth-giving. Yes, let's tell the truth of Thanksgiving, he says. Let's tell the story that no one's ever heard before. And that's why every year around this time, there are dozens of articles and videos talking about the alleged truth that nobody is allegedly talking about. With the holidays coming up, all those dinners, all those moments around the table with family, I want to make sure every meal is special. That's why I use Good Ranchers. All their meat is 100% American, raised on local farms, delivered right to my door. True that the traditional story of Thanksgiving that they used to tell young children in school decades ago is simplistic. And there's probably a certain element of legend to it. Every country has its legends. Every country has its foundational myths. There is nothing sinister about that. Stories are passed down through the generations. Details are lost over time. Sometimes details are added, all to preserve the central theme or message in the story. Every culture has its legends. And really, our understanding of all historical events from centuries ago is, at the very least, incomplete. We don't have camera footage to review, so we can only go by what people involved said happened, or what people who talked to people involved said happened. So none of this is revelatory. We all understand this. Okay, so every time they say, well, did you know what they told you in second grade about Thanksgiving? Did you know that wasn't the whole story? Of course it's not the whole story, you idiot. It was in second grade. I assume it wasn't the whole story. None of that changes the basic meaning of Thanksgiving or undermines or debunks the basic central story of Thanksgiving. Besides, the old simplistic story of the holiday has now been replaced with a new simplistic story. In the new simplistic version, the native tribes were all a bunch of peaceful, tree-hugging hippies in tune with the earth and nature, singing Kumbaya when they were viciously slaughtered by the white man.
The Pilgrims overtook the Native Americans and took everything that they had worked so hard for.
The actual truth is that the native tribes were in a constant state of war long before any white man set foot on these shores. Violence was an integral part of so-called indigenous culture, all indigenous cultures, because it was not just one culture. Okay, these were disparate tribes stretched out all over the hemisphere, and violence was an integral part of all of them, no exceptions. As for their contact with European settlers, sometimes the contact was peaceful on both sides. On some occasions, the settlers committed atrocities. On some occasions, the Indians committed atrocities. On some occasions, the atrocities on either side were basically unprovoked. On plenty of occasions, there was mutual combat between the two sides. They don't mention any of this. They never do. They never acknowledge even one of the many, many, many countless instances of Indian tribes inflicting horrific, savage violence on innocent colonists, including women and children, and on each other. They never acknowledge it because they don't want you to realize that this land was not stolen, it was conquered fair and square. The previous conquerors of this land were then themselves conquered. That's the way it goes. By the way, I've got news for you. 400 years ago, almost everybody's life was brutal and tragic. If we're supposed to be sad about misfortunes suffered by people we never met way back in the distant past, then we will never stop being sad. Almost everyone everywhere suffered greatly back in those days. There are plenty of people still suffering greatly today. If you want to empathize with people's pain, maybe choose people who are currently living, not people who are decomposed in the ground 400 years ago. Not people who died 300 years before the automobile was invented. Now, in final analysis, history contains an essentially infinite amount of suffering and atrocities and outrages and injustices. It also contains heroism and sacrifice and courage and achievement. It is up to us to decide which of those things in our national history we will focus on. I contend that the healthiest category to focus on, the thing that you focus on if you want to be a thriving and happy and healthy society, is the latter. Which isn't to say that we outright deny and never discuss the former. Of course, we acknowledge that bad things were done in our history. We shouldn't try to erase that from the history books, and nobody is. But ultimately, you will look back on your history with pride and gratitude, or with resentment and despair. You will focus on the triumph or the tragedy. The people of all other nations across the world, or at least the non-Western world, they choose to focus on the triumph of their ancestors, which breeds national pride and patriotism and gratitude. In the modern West, we are the only ones who have decided to basically ignore all of the positive and concentrate almost exclusively on the bad. So much so that even our day of Thanksgiving has become, at least in some corners, times of mourning. And what has that strategy gotten us? It's only made us resentful, sullen, depressed, ungrateful. It has made us worse people and our country a worse country. That's why I will not partake in this historical self-flagellation. Instead, I celebrate the incredible valor and intrepidness of my ancestors. I take pride in this country's history, in those who made it possible for this country to exist in the first place. I am happy that they came here and that they conquered. I am thankful for their conquest. I will give thanks for it on Thanksgiving and for so much else. And for everybody else, I will say they are today canceled.
I mean, again, that's another great take on Thanksgiving and about the way that people think about it, or
Right.
the way that people need to stop and rethink about it.
Right. And in general, like, if you just don't even want to go into the historical part of it, just set aside everything else of the day and just think back at your entire past year and be like, what am I thankful for this past year?
Yeah.
What am I thankful for today? What am I thankful for at this minute? And embrace that and actually
Yes.
stop for a second, and whether you believe in God or not, just be like, hey, Jesus, you know, thank you, or whatever, thank you. That that I'm still here.
Oh, I
That I
know.
still have these things in my life. Even if you think that you have nothing, you still have breath in your lungs. You still have something.
Well, and I mean, honestly, you should be waking up every morning in
You should.
gratitude.
Right. So it's
The
like to
average
ask for
person
one day
needs to
is-
really, really think about it and reset their everything about their life, because waking up every single morning thankful that you woke up to another day, no matter how bad you think your life is. I mean, you're breathing at that very moment.
I woke up in excruciating pain and everything before, but it's like I hear you guys breathing, you hear them
Yes.
breathing, you know, and it's like, okay, that's just one more thing to be thankful for. It's grace and gratitude, you know.
And this is just another day that we don't really do much with Thanksgiving, but we still celebrate it as a family. We are
Yes.
together.
Get an opportunity to have some good food and actually spend it together.
Yes,
you know, and actually
exactly, and that's
set aside that time.
always use those chances as a family to do. With the way that our society is, they don't want that.
Let's go.
They want to go, and that's it. And no matter what, you should be trying to be with your family as much as you possibly can.
Yep.
I mean, we're living in society that, again, they just want you to keep going.
Yeah, they
They
really
want to
want a
wear you
division,
down.
Yeah, and that's where you want to fight the government. If you want to live in solidarity with the way your ancestors set forth, then that is the only way to go, is to have a really strong family unit.
Exactly.
And to have really strong family values.
Yes.
Because that's what dismantles, the bad government.
It is, for sure, yes.
It's like, sorry, no, I stand on these principles and you're not going to change it.
And another thing that gets me really frustrated with all of this is the fact that people will use Thanksgiving and Christmas both as pinpoint holidays, that it's like, okay, let's go give back to the homeless.
Right.
Let's go do this. Let's go do that. And it's like, why does it have to be just during these holiday seasons?
Right.
Why can't people just be good to their fellow people
Year round.
year round?
What about summer when it's hot as hell and people need water and people need cooling stations and mostly water? What about that? I mean,
as a society, we really need to come together and be better to each other.
Yep.
I mean, it's sickening to see how everyone here, in especially America,
it's very commercialized.
Yes.
One thing. I think same thing with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Valentine's Day, 4th of July. It's all about buying stuff.
It is.
And hosting big parties that are themed and all of that. It's like, it's not about that. They never stop to reflect the reason for the season, no matter what that season is.
Exactly.
I'm just trying to use that on the cat. See?
And it's like, I don't know. It just bugs me that people don't stop and think about each other more.
Their token good deed for the year. That's about it. I mean, Christmas is just a convenient time to remember that, because they're going to be getting more shit. So they're like, oh well, now it's my token good deed, and then they off all the rest of the goddamn year.
But I mean, I've never seen a person be so kind as to even, it's like, okay, they get a new car for their holiday or whatever. Their old car, it's like, oh, I gotta sell it and make more money.
Or
why don't you just go find the next person that you think really needs a car?
Yeah.
Talk to them, get to know them or whatever, and then say, listen, this is what I want to do for you.
Right. I mean, absolutely. If we had more money and more assets and everything, that would be what I'd be doing.
Exactly, and we will.
Yeah.
Because we are getting better, and we are getting in better positions, and even to now, the last dollar that we have ends up going to somebody else, because we're not gonna watch people.
I have the ability now. Most of my focus is like helping our son with building his business.
Yes.
Building his stuff up, but we still think about other people at that point.
I know.
And it's like it's coming to the point where I'm going to cash in all the all the stuff that I've accumulated and like have you go and find some people to give it to.
Yeah.
You know, we save change throughout the entire year and then we go and give it away at the end of the year.
Yeah, we cash it in the coin machines, and I mean this year what I might even do is get a gift card out of it.
Yeah.
Because in the machines they don't take a percentage.
What did you do
when
last year? Just do the fucking receipt thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, hopefully they knew what it was.
Yeah.
'Cause- Yeah.
But I mean, if you get a gift card and give it to somebody, they get the full amount.
Yeah, exactly. So it could be for a food place.
Yeah.
You know, that'd be probably good. And like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's us, and we don't have anything. You know, it's like we don't have. I mean, we have everything, but we don't have like in the material sense of stuff. It's like compared to everybody else, like around here, we don't have anything.
No.
You know, it's like they have cars after cars after cars sitting in their driveway.
Most families here have an average of 2 to 3 vehicles per person.
Per person. You know, we don't have that. You know, we have
Yeah.
one car that we just got this past year. We haven't even had it a year yet.
Nope.
That we use.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just crazy to me. The waste
I know.
of it. It's nuts. And it's like, yeah, someday, since I've lived on both sides of this, it's like most definitely I'll be giving away more than what I have. You
Yeah.
know, so long as everybody's good here, what else do you need? You know?
Exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, watch out on Wolf Boy Production. He commented here on this one. On his page coming up, we are going to be doing a 12 Days of Christmas. It will be 12 different giveaways, and I mean, a lot of it's going to probably be like
in-game things,
in-game stuff and all that. But look out for it. You know, check out his channel.
Yeah.
Look out for it. We will be doing it.
But you know, just be good to people and give more than you can. I know it's like as long as your family is taken care of and nobody, you're not taking food out of like your children's mouth or whatever.
Yes.
Then give more than you can. You know, it's like you don't want to give the table scraps. You want to give a portion of the meal.
Yeah.
You know? And like I said, as long as the boys are covered, and it's like I'll go without. You know, and pass that on.
Yes.
And, I don't know. And like I said, we're really poor, you know. Like I mean, like we're below the poverty level. Like we make between 25,000 and 30,000 a year here in California.
I know, and that's saying something.
Yeah, and we still can make this work.
Yeah.
So I just don't know what people are doing.
Well, they're trying to live above their means.
Right,
That's
and
what they're
even
doing.
if you have a bunch of money, like dude, live way below your means. Then it's like then you'll have so much more to give.
That's exactly right. You know, and all these people, well, you need to start with people like Elon Musk. And I'm sorry, but he does.
Yeah.
He gives a lot.
Just, you don't get to choose how other people are spending their money. And obviously he does it kind of secretive, which you're supposed to do.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be, oh, well, we're putting all of this out here so everybody can see, because that's being selfish.
Right. Like, Mr. Beast uses it for content, but I feel like he gives more than he uses, like...
I think he does, yes.
Content, you know? And it's okay if you want to do both for a while. That's okay. I mean, we don't know what he does.
We don't.
You know?
We don't.
And it's like, you don't get to choose. Like, okay, so what about Elon Musk? Okay, whatever. What about Mr. Beast?
Yeah.
But what about you? What are you giving?
Exactly. What are you doing? Hey, Amos, what you doing? Don't pull on that ring light.
The what?
The ring light.
What are you doing? Yeah, that's right.
I'll pull over a ring light if I'm not careful. Huh?
Well, I'm not going to put this frosting on, then I'll be back over there. So, yeah.
So, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, just be nice to one another.
And be grateful.
Yeah, be grateful. Be righteous.
We never...
You know, the Bible talks about it. Being righteous is big. You know, it's knowing the yes, and having faith, knowing the word, trusting the word. That's the biggest thing that people don't do. They don't want to trust that what's coming in life is what they deserve.
Right. And like in our culture, we say knowing the path is different than walking the path.
Yes.
A lot of people know the path, but they don't walk the path. And if they do walk the path, they find out that it's full of stickers and muddy spots, and you backslide and you do all this stuff, but you keep walking it. You keep going.
You do whatever you can.
because at the end of it, it's that's the destination, you know? Like,
Exactly.
that's the sweet spot.
That's exactly right. So, all right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Really appreciate, all the support. Look, after this next month, January going into this next year, it's going to be big. We're going to be doing a lot with, I'm sure both channels will have quite a bit. Yeah. So just look out for what's to come, and we're going to be doing lives a lot more frequently. So,
oh my God.
Sorry. Let us know what you think. Give us ideas of what you think should happen. We're always thrilled to have them. My love. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen.
Have a great night.
I guess I'm out.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.